Hey, y'all. On today's podcast, we celebrate Teresa's incredible success of reaching $250,000 in sales.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now, we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. And we are really excited to be with you today because we are celebrating another amazing success story from the Flip Your Life community. Our guest today is Teresa Perleberg. Teresa, welcome to the show.
Hey there. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
And Teresa has been on the show before. Jocelyn, what podcast was she on in the past?
Teresa was on podcast 191. So if you go to fliplifestyle.com/podcast 191, you can check out Teresa's interview with us back in April of 2018. But the cool thing is a lot of things have changed for Teresa, and we can't wait to tell you more about that.
So Teresa, tell us why you're here today. First of all, tell us your amazing success story, your financial numbers that you hit last year in 2019.
I managed to make $250,000, a little over $250,000, and that was pretty exciting.
I love how you said it's pretty exciting. That's $250,000, Teresa. That's like 2% of people in America can even make that much money in a year. And you're like, yeah, you know,
it was all right.
Mil, you know, and we've known Teresa for a long time now, and you're always so humble and soft spoken. You're like, well, guys, 250,000, but that is absolutely mind-boggling. When you told me that the other day, I immediately was like, "You've got to come on the podcast. We have got to talk about that." And I love it when we get to speak to someone who hits this amazing milestone, and we've kind of seen your entire journey. So let's back up a little bit and explain how you got to two. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people listening right now going, "Wait a minute, $250,000? How can I get to $250,000?"
Okay, well, let's start first of all. If people haven't listened to your other podcast yet, tell us just the quick version of what it is you do and what you sell online.
I raise sheep. I have about 100 sheep, and I raise them for their wool. And I do needle felting, in which I make sculptures, realistic animal sculptures. And I have designed kits. I have about 20 kits that teaches others how to do this. It has all the supplies in it, which is my wool, and instructions written by me. And I had sold those. And then in 2017, I started an academy, a membership where they could join and watch video courses on how to do the more intricate, bigger sculptures. And since then, and this last year, I have always been hesitant to sell the wool separately from my kits since I only have so many sheep. But I partnered with my local fiber mill, Chris at my local fiber mill, and she's processed my wool for years. And she helped me get to that next step of selling wool. She has access to wool, and she dyes it for me and has really saved me time in that area and made it possible for me to sell more products.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I love that. And I would say that is a problem that is kind of hard to overcome. You know, there are a lot of problems that are easy for us to overcome, but when it comes to having more sheep and the capacity to shear them and process that wool and all that, I mean, first of all, you have to have the space to keep the sheep, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things that go into that. So, you know, that's one of those things that you have to really kind of think out. So,
can I just highlight real quick how crazy your niche is? Like, I will never forget meeting you back in 2017 when you came into the community, because I remember you posting, and I'm like, wait, what do you do? Like, so you take wool off of living sheep, and you needle felt it into statues of other animals,
which are so cute, by the way.
They are amazing. Yeah. What's your website real quick so people can check those out?
It's bearcreekfelting.com.
Bearcreekfelting.com. It is amazing. Like these realistic giraffes and elephants and all of these things that you create from this wool. And so you got started out back in 2017. You were just selling the kits one-off. Is that correct?
Yes. I started in 2008 selling online and selling my kits and my art that I made. And until 2017, that's when I decided people had wanted to know how to make the more intricate animals. And the best way to do that was through video. So that's
Gotcha.
when I started the membership.
So, okay. So from 2008 until about 2017. So this started out, you created this thing and you were like, hey, I'm going to sell this thing I made as art. Maybe someone would want to buy the thing I created. And then you started selling little kits that people could create, like less intricate ones, like smaller ones. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're all like beginners, so they're really easy.
Gotcha. And you would send them the wool too?
Yep, that all comes in the kit, everything that you need to make the project.
So this business kind of grows. You're about 2017. What were you making in 2017?
I think it was about 50,000.
And that was just selling the kits by themselves, right?
Yep, selling the kits and my art that I made.
And your art that you
Can
made.
I just say that you are an old school online marketer? I mean,
That's
2008.
Right. You've been in the e-commerce game for a while, right? So, like, what happened? And okay, let me point this out too. In the last 2 years, you've grown your business from $50,000 to $250,000. You have 5x your business in 2 years. So, can we get a standing ovation from everywhere in the Flip Your Life community right now and the Flip Lifestyle audience? Because that is insane growth, like insane growth. So, what was the change in 2017 where you were like, hey, I'm making some money. I'm selling my art. I'm selling these little kits.
People are asking for more stuff from you.
Like what led you to the Flip Your Life community? Like what made you start looking up? Did you just think, hey, there's got to be a way to scale this? I've got to have another way to do this. Like what led you to us?
Yeah, I definitely didn't know exactly how. I knew I needed to scale, but I wasn't sure how to market. I did make a course, like a one-off course on how to make some sheep. And I sold that on my website. But then when I heard about you guys and I heard about memberships, that kind of really fit into what I needed.
Like someone could come in, they could be a part of a community of needle felters worldwide. They could be led by you, the leader of the sheep shearing needle felting community, right? And then you could take them and they could just log in and watch courses and you could just keep making courses like over and over and do that. So how did your launch go? Like when did you actually launch the membership side itself?
It was in March of 2017.
March of 2017.
Yeah, and I launched just to I already had several fans, and I launched it to them at a reduced price, and that was kind of my beta group, and I worked with them, and then I opened it up to the public.
So did you do a small beta group first to kind of get used to it? Like did you open like 20, 30 spots? Like how big was it when you first opened up?
Yeah, I think it was around 30 that started.
That's always a great step for anybody launching a membership because especially if you do have some followers or some kind of email list, because, if 100 people show up, we launched and we had 120 people show up for our membership. And it was really overwhelming. Like I remember that's where we learned the whole concept of, we did beta launches with our courses, but we opened the membership the first day and we were kind of overwhelmed. And it's like, now we always recommend get a few people in and figure out how to lead that group and then expand like out later so that you can grow it. How did your public launch go after you got these initial 30 beta people? Then you opened up. How did that go?
That went really well because I already knew that there was a lot of interest in it. They had been asking for years on more in-depth courses, and so I kind of knew that it would go over pretty good. I don't remember the exact numbers of how many joined when I opened it to the public, but it went really well. And when I decided to raise my prices, that's when I gained a lot of members.
Okay, yeah. And that's, I think, the point that we talked to you in 2018 is once you had done that price increase and we were kind of talking about the next steps. Now, I just want to stop right here for just a second and say that, there are probably a lot of people out there listening thinking, oh gosh, $250,000, that's just so out of my league. But I just want to say that even what you were doing right then, like just selling the one-off kits, opening up the membership to your audience, like that's still a pretty decent living.
Like that pushed you over 6 figures, right?
It did, yes. The membership added 50,000.
I mean, just think about that. If you're out there listening to this, I mean, Teresa, she takes wool from sheep and she makes creatures and teaches people how to make creatures. Now, that is not the most everyday niche, So if you're out there thinking, oh, nobody would be interested in what I do, well, who knows? The world is a big place. Like, there are a lot of people in it, and it doesn't take a lot of people to make a pretty good living.
And this is a hobby niche, of course. But why do you think people are drawn to your hobby niche, needle felting? Like, why do people want to make these things so much? Is it just a hobby? Is it just for fun? Is it like relaxation? Do they give them to people? Like what, from your audience, like what have you gotten from that? Like you provide so much value to them, they stick around. Like, what do they tell you the reason for that is?
Well, it's mainly a hobby. They do it for relaxation. Most of my members are retired and they're just looking for, they've been waiting their whole lives to have time to do this kind of thing. A lot of them, raise sheep or, are doing the same things I am, and they have just interest in fiber art. And this really fits in what they're interested in.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we have another member named Kevin who does relaxandlearnguitar.com. And it reminds me of your niche, even though he's teaching an instrument. It's totally different, right? It's music but it's kind of art stuff, But it's the same thing. Even though it's a hobby, it's people who put off learning guitar their whole life. They're empty nesters. Their kids are going to college. They're moving out. They're getting married themselves. And they've got all this time now that they've waited. I love the way you said that they've waited their whole life to fill. Right. And now they get to pick up the guitar. They get to do something they've always wanted to do. And it creates so much value, even though it's a quote unquote hobby niche. Right. Mm-hmm. It is that, we always talk about aspirin and vitamin. It's definitely an aspirin. It's that headache. It's, man, I need a way to unwind. I need a way to use my time. I want to learn how to do this cool thing. I'm inspired by watching Teresa make a 6-foot giraffe out of sheep wool, right? And they go out and do it. And I love, anyone else might have looked at this idea. Can you imagine looking at this idea like 10 years ago and saying, wait a minute, you're going to try to do what? And here you are in 2019 and you've created $250,000 business. So what was the big difference here? Let me go back through the timeline real quick. So one, kudos for you. Because we see the overnight success. Oh, last year we hit $250,000, but you've been selling kits physically since 2008. Like, that's awesome. And then 2017, like 10 years later, is when you discovered the membership and you figured out how to scale it past 6 figures. Now, what was the difference that took you from, the first 6-figure year, $100,000, to $250,000? Like, what was the difference in 2019 that really pushed it over the edge, besides more members, of course?
Yeah, it was adding the wool, selling the wool. I also have added more supplies for needle felting. There's just more products for them to buy from my website.
That's awesome. And it's amazing what happens there, because I was actually just talking to somebody the other day about A opportunities and B opportunities. So like, you start your business and your initial business might not become the thing that hits it big. For example, your kits were at $50,000, but then you added the membership, which was the next opportunity, and that scaled and expanded it and doubled your business. And then you 5X that initial business by adding this B opportunity, this extra outside thing. Hey, I'll provide the wool and the kits and all of the resources they need to take full advantages of the courses in the community. And that's really how business works. Like, sell people something and then sell them something else. If you do that, that's what's going to push you to the next level. There's a lot of people out there right now. You might be stuck. Maybe you're selling on eBay or doing some e-commerce on Etsy. Maybe you're on Amazon and you're stuck at 50,000. Well, Teresa added a new offer, the membership. That pushed her to the next level. She added another offer, the actual physical wool and things like that. And that's pushed you to the next level. So it's really important to always, start the first thing, but then keep adding layers to it as you go forward.
And I can remember, Teresa, back in September when we saw you in Lexington at the event, I can remember having a different conversation with you. Can you tell us a little bit about that conversation and like what you changed and how that impacted your sales too?
Yeah, I decided to add the free shipping. I do sell on Etsy too, and they really push selling with free shipping. And so I did that, and that really, really helped with my Etsy sales.
Why do you think that was? Just because because of course it's free shipping, but you're going to kind of incorporate it in the overall price, right? So but just that marketing language of hearing free shipping, why do you think that boosted your sales so much at the end of the year?
Well, it was anything over $35. So my kits are under 35. So they had to add another kit.
Doubled your sales with 2 words on your sales page. I love it.
Yeah. And
Right.
you know what? That strategy, it is very, very powerful because I use it all the time. I did my holiday shopping almost exclusively online. I mean, pretty much 95% online. And I would add things to my cart because to me, if I'm going to pay $20 for shipping or it's free if I spend another $25, it doesn't make sense for me to do that because I could just get something else for the same amount that I was going to pay to ship it.
And I love the marketing strategy too of like strategically, how do I get people to add something else to the cart? Well, that little twist makes people add the other kit to the cart. I remember when we were in college, I used to always get on to Jocelyn because they had this store, Express. Is that what it's called? Express for Women. Is that still around?
I think so.
I think they still have those. I've not been in a mall in like 2 years. So
yeah, I don't wear that kind of clothing anymore. So
right, that was college clothing. But they would always send these coupons out, and it would say, "Hey, if you spend $100, you get 20% off." And of course, 1, you weren't going to spend anything because you weren't going to go to Express. 2, you were probably only going to buy like a shirt for $25, but then you get in there and you're like, I need to spend this whole $100. So that little twist, adding something like that to your shopping carts can really boost sales.
All right, Teresa. Well, we're just so excited for you and so happy for you that all of this has come to be. And tell us a little bit about how all this made you feel. You know, when you start thinking back, well, I have 5X this thing in just a couple years. Like, how did that make you feel?
Well, I knew, I was having a good year, but just to see the total when I actually had time, since it's been kind of busy this year, when I had time to sit down and figure out the total was pretty amazing. Sharing that with my family and just having them be proud of me was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty cool. Like when you look down and make money that you probably couldn't have imagined 5 years ago. Right? Like, Can I really get to $250,000? And that really is exceptional. Like the median income for a family in the United States of America is like $60,000. Now think about that. And I was looking up some statistics the other day, and I'm pretty sure the $250,000 and above in sales and revenue, like only like 5% of companies even do that. So like you are maybe 10%, but you're like in the upper 10% of probably companies in revenue, and you're doing this from your home. Where do you live again?
In North Dakota.
You're doing this you're in North Dakota selling kits to teach people how to make statues out of wool.
And we're not making fun of Teresa, really. I mean, it sounds like we're like, oh, this is the most crazy niche ever. But it's just, for most people, like they don't even know this exists. And so it's just a little bit out there for a lot of people. But I love it. I mean, it's awesome.
Dude, are all of your family now like, I wonder if I could sell something online? Are they like thinking like that, like your kids and stuff?
My kids, I would really want them to. I really encourage them to be thinking that way. They don't have any great ideas yet, but I'm working on them.
But just that inspiration being in the family. I got a brother who just started selling some things online, and he got like his 5th member the other day. And you can just really see like it's baby steps. So, some people jump off the cliff. I'm a jump off the cliff guy, right, Jocelyn?
You can't imagine that,
Jocelyn
right?
always makes sure I've got my parachute on, right? But some people, like, it takes time and they get in it, but just having that influence, that inspiration, like that's a generational change even mentally of what's possible. Like even doing that, even if they don't go into online business, it may make them push harder in their career because they realize, hey, somebody in my family tree hit this amazing milestone. And if they can do it, I can do it too. So, that's going to be like going down through the ages. Just, man, when you're like an 80-year-old woman, they're going to look back and go, man, Mamaw was awesome. Mamaw did good, man. Mamaw killed it. She was an entrepreneur. Man, Mamaw was awesome. You may not, I don't know if you call them Mamaws.
Well, in the country, we call our grandmas Mamaw.
We call them Mamaws. So now you know that. There's a little Kentucky word for you. All right. What do you think was the biggest like action step that you took? I'd like to go back to like 2 things. Like one, you're making the kits, you hear about our story, you hear about the community, you come in, you see these people launching memberships, and you kind of think, I could do that. Like, but there's a big difference in I can do that, and I'm going to take the action steps necessary to make that happen for myself. So like, what do you think were the biggest action steps you took when you were launching your membership? And then go forward, like when you were doing the wool, like what were the biggest action steps that you took to make it happen?
Well, the raising my prices that you guys encouraged me to do, that was a major action step. And
was that scary?
Well, it was, because it didn't make a lot of sense. Raise your prices, you get more members, but
right, yeah.
It seems kind of counterintuitive, right?
But it always works. Like, it's unbelievable when we see that happen. You always get this massive. I did an annual sale at Christmas. We raised our annual price, and we had like 12 or 13 annual sales in like a weekend, and that doesn't happen all the time. But it's just like people know, they're raising the price. If I don't get in now, I'm out. So I've got to take advantage of it.
Yeah. And the cool thing is just having that community there to like push you out of the airplane and say, you are going to do this. You can do this. Don't be scared to do this. You got it.
Yeah. And then with the wool, you guys encouraged me to make bundles so that they would buy more. So I did make those bundles, and that really was helpful as well.
Awesome. This is very interesting because online business is simple, but not easy. Like, there's not a ton of complexity. Like, if you want to raise your prices, you go delete the price and type in a new one on your order form, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you took a step of adding complexity. Like, you had to go work with another human who was doing the fulfillment of this wool and had the production that you needed. You had to figure out the logistics of getting the wool to your customers and all of that. Like, it seems like many people would stop there and go, well, that's too complicated. I can't do that. So like, what pushed you over the edge and said, you know what, this is worth it. It's worth it to take a chance. It's worth it to, have a partner or that I work with, and have a supply line and add this new product because I know it's going to create more revenue. Like, what really pushed you past that fear point of the complexity is scary now, but on the other end, it's going to be awesome?
Yeah, working with somebody else is really helpful. Just sharing our fears, and she was very encouraging in how she was going to be able to help me to get this product out there. We did have moments, and we still are having moments where we're like a little bit, we don't have enough of this or that, and the inventory has been kind of frightening, but we're learning, and we plan to make many improvements in this next year. So.
But that's a good thing because people are buying you with wool. Mm-hmm. When you have to find more sheep, that means you found more people to pay you money.
Yeah, so we're looking to find more sheep this year too.
We got to find more sheep. So if you got some sheep out there, holler at Teresa. She's in the sheep market right now.
Yes.
All right. Well, we kind of mentioned a couple of these challenges already, like, not having enough sheep and working with someone else. But what are some other challenges that you had to overcome to make the success happen?
I would say the inventory. There's like when you're selling products, there's just so many things to keep track of, and it seems like you're always out of something, and something you overlooked. Something's you can't make this kit because one piece of it is not here, and you forgot to order it, and that has been my main challenge of this year.
Yeah. And is that something you feel like you're getting a hold of now? Like growth is good, but growth does always add more complexity, right? So do you feel like you're getting your systems more refined, and as you like stumble through this and, even falling forward on your face, you're still moving forward, right? So you forget the kit, you forget the order. Do you feel like those challenges are getting easier or harder, or do you feel like you're going to have to come up with new solutions in 2020? Like, how's that going to work?
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to come up with new solutions. We keep thinking of more things that we're going to sell and more bundles we're putting together. And so we're just going to have to be really on top of the inventory to make sure that we have everything that we're trying to sell.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love how there's never a hesitation in your voice. There's never oh gosh, this is really hard. I don't know if we're going to make it, or, we might fail. We're kind of, not figuring this part out. Like, it's just like, yeah, we're going to figure it out. Yeah, we're doing the next thing.
And I love how you're saying that we're adding offerings. Like, instead of saying, we have too many things, we can't keep up with all this inventory, we better scale back. You're like, no, let's continue to give customers what they want. And yeah. I love that.
Yeah, just vision. And you can hear the vision, and I can also hear the confidence in your voice. And it's hilarious because Teresa and I talk on Voxer, and we it's often a text message. because you're clearly you're like Jocelyn. You're clearly the your introversion is your superpower. You know
I prefer to type.
Yeah. So I got a text, and you just casually the other day said when you sent me, hey, we hit $250,000. Well, what? Like that's amazing. But it is from you're coming from a position of confidence and a position of, yeah, I am worthy of this. I've done the work. I've put in my time. It is my time to go past the mountaintop now.
It might be a little messy along the way.
That's right, but you're going to do it anyway. And I just love hearing that from you. And it's just so amazing. And I cannot tell you how proud of you we are. Like, it's so inspiring. People like you inspire us. Like, when we see somebody else pick up the mantle and go do it, it gets me more fired up about my own business. So let me ask you this. This is our selfish success question. How did the Flip Your Life community help you and make this possible? Right? You came in selling the kits, like not just from the membership model, but like, how did the community itself, our live events, or maybe even me and Jocelyn, like, how did we help you along the way? And how did that make a difference than doing it alone?
Well, I've come to both live events, and it's like meeting family and getting together with people that I've been talking with online, and now have many friends in the community that are checking up on me and making sure that, I'm keeping up with my goals. And the All Access program has been very helpful. I didn't have a lot of time to utilize it with how busy I was, but I got a lot of help from you guys in what I should be doing and the goals I should set.
Yeah, I love that you have groups of people checking on you, right? Because like me and Jocelyn, it's hard because there's hundreds and hundreds of people in there, so we can't personally check on everyone, right? Although we are trying to get in systems. We're hiring some people now to help make that more possible. We really want touch points to filter through us as fast as we can.
Yeah, and like make people more accountable.
Like, we want a team of people who go out and just check on every member. That would be my dream, is for every member to be contacted by us or our team every month, right? Mm-hmm. But like, it's so cool watching the community check on each other and friends. And we were in 2019, we just did Flip Your Life Live. We're not doing it this year. We may bring it back the year after. We're going to do some smaller events this year. But like, it was amazing when we walked into the room on the work night. We have a big work section where everybody does all the work from the day, and everybody's at tables masterminding and stuff like that. And like, the first year we walked in, we kind of got swamped, right? But this year, when we came in, everyone just kept working. And it kind of took a minute before anybody even realized we were in there. And I was like, that's awesome, because everybody was sitting with their friends and sitting with the people that they don't get to see all the time, but they get to talk to in the forums, talk to in the community, talk to on Facebook. And they were hanging out, and you guys were so intense on like making things happen. Like, I could see the community right in front of me, and it was just absolutely amazing to see that. So love it. Well, I am really, really glad that you came into our community, and I am really super proud and super happy for all of your success. But it's not, we don't sit on our laurels in the Flip Your Life community, Teresa. We don't just accept what we've already done. So like,
and we know you're not the type of person to do that.
That's
anyway.
Right. We know you've got big goals for this year, for this decade. So what do you think's next for your business? Like, what do you think is going to happen this year? Like, what are your goals moving forward?
Well, the gal, Chris, that I partnered with, together we bought a school that we're remodeling, and we're going to have classes there. And the next step, I feel, is people want to move past the academy and they want to come work one-on-one with me. And now we'll have a place for them to come and do that.
You bought a school building? Like
yes.
A whole... Go back to 2016 and tell Teresa Perleberg 2016 that she's going to buy a school building. Why? To open her own school for this felting stuff. That's amazing. Like what are your financial goals? Do you see people traveling to North Dakota, or is this more of a local thing?
I see people traveling to North Dakota. I've already done surveys, and many of them plan to come. We're going to have the sheep and all the fiber animals there, and the actual fiber mill will be in the school, so people can come and learn all about the fiber arts, not just needle felting, but everything that there is.
I hear school field trip right there.
That's right. Yeah, every school within 100 miles, get over here and make sheep. or turn sheep into giraffes. Like that's what you're doing.
There'll actually be rooms to stay too. So people that stay for a week.
That's really cool.
Do you think you can? Do you think you can double your business again, 5x your business again? Like what are you and your partner's business goals, like money wise?
Yes, I definitely need to at least add 100,000 on this next year. Between the two of us, we plan to. She has a fiber mill that she doesn't have space. She doesn't have enough equipment, and once we get in the school, she'll have more room and be able to handle more customers, where she's had to turn them away now. So
how much is your membership right now per month?
It's $29.99.
So $30. And have you tried a higher price than that before?
I haven't.
Oh, sounds like another time for a price increase to get some more members, if you ask me. Because like 100,000, if you want to add 100,000 in revenue, like let me get out my handy dandy calculator here. If you want to do 100,000 in revenue, it's really simple. You just take 100,000 and you divide that by 12, and that's going to give you your monthly number, right? So you need $8,333 in revenue. So if you divide that by $30 a month for new members, that'd be $277 dollars, right? But if you did 8,333 divided by, let's say, $39 a month, that knocks it all the way down to 213 people. So like if you could go get another 100 people or 200 people on a price increase, they're going to buy more wool. Like that could probably, maybe a simple price increase might be able to get you on a run rate of an extra $100,000 right now.
And we've talked about this in the past with you, Teresa, and I don't know if it's something that you're open to, but I can see you even maybe doing a tiered membership where maybe you double the price, but they get a kit each month or something like that. So, I mean, there's different ideas that you can play with for sure.
And I have another idea, but it's going to scare you to death. Are you ready for this?
I think so.
You don't sound so sure, Teresa.
That's what a lot of people say to me in that same situation.
Yeah, you sound like me when Shane says the same thing to me.
When I walk into the room about 3 times a day and go, I've got an idea.
Literally,
like,
that's how often it happens.
Yeah, she's still scared from the last one. Your personality is so amazing. And like when I see you and we're in the same place together and we're talking on, like you just have this it's that Midwestern, Southern, North Dakota happy person. Like you just have this innate trustworthiness, right? When I talk to you. And I think that you've got to look a little bigger about your brand, and you need to go out and become the celebrity in crafting. You need to push yourself out there a little more, like in front of the crafting community. And we were talking off air before the show about conferences and things like that. Like I just would love to see you really go to the forefront of this brand and make it almost like a personal brand a little bit, to like go out to speak at things and go out to these conferences and go pull all these people back to North Dakota, right? You're going to be, the North Dakota Board of Tourism is going to be thanking you later for bringing all these people into the state. But like, I think if you just pushed yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit more that way, which I know you've done amazing things like to get out of your comfort zone in the last couple of years to grow this business, but you just are kind of poised to like become the person in this space. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
That's her laugh. Like, you know what I'm saying though? Like, I can imagine you on stage. I can imagine you leading these conferences around the country. Like, I can imagine people eventually, any crafting show, wanting you guys there because you're like a household crafting name. Right.
And the funny thing is, we talked about this. There are actually wool-specific conferences that you can go to, which is so cool. And not too long ago, we were telling Teresa before the show started, we went to a cheerleading competition. I think it was in Tennessee, and it's in a big convention center. And we were in a couple of ballrooms of the convention center, and then in another ballroom was an alpaca convention.
Alpacas.
And we were like,
it was an alpaca show, like dog shows before alpacas. And what was cool about it, I talked to one of the vendors and I was like, so you guys go all over the country with your alpacas? And he's like, oh yeah, man, 30 weekends a year or something crazy. There's people going to these conferences.
And it was huge. I mean, it wasn't like just a small room of people. I mean, there were probably hundreds of vendors, and there were probably hundreds of alpacas. They were walking them around. They were showing them like show dogs. It was crazy.
So I really want to challenge you this year to to go push the brand itself farther. Like, it's not just numbers and wool and everything else. It's how are we going to get in front of the entire crafting community and actually start winning people to this craft, right? Mm-hmm. Like a mission statement, almost like, put down your scrapbooks and pick up your needle felting needles or something, like start like going against other crafts, just make your craft the best one, right? But you really do have the personality for it. You just have to kind of let it out.
Yeah, and maybe it's something simpler than that. Like maybe you could even look for a smaller opportunity. I know in some craft stores, they have workshops. Maybe you could even start something small like that. Just host a workshop somewhere for a school, for a craft store, for whatever. And then, see how that does and then move on from there.
Teresa Perleberg, the queen of needle felting. That's what you need to be. You need to claim it as the crowd. Okay. So, well, listen, we are so pumped up for you. And I have no doubt that maybe a year from now, or maybe even 2 years from now, you're going to be back on this podcast saying, hey guys, I doubled my business again. It was pretty crazy. Let me tell you how I did it. And we're just really proud of you. We're thankful that you are so transparent and you'll come on the podcast and that you'll share this information with us. And also I know that you also help a lot of other people in the community. I know those people are supporting you, but I know you're checking on them too. So we just want to thank you so much for being an amazing example to the Flip Your Life community of what's possible, and just for having the courage to go out and do your thing and grow your business. And we're really proud of you for that.
Thank you. And thank you for your help as well.
All right, guys, that wraps up another great interview with one of our Flip Your Life community members. Man, can you imagine taking your hobby, turning it into a business, and that business grows 5 times in 2 years, 5x growth, and it gets $250,000 in sales? What an inspiring story from Teresa Perleberg today, man. She is an amazing member of the Flip Your Life community, and we would love to have you inside the Flip Your Life community as well. You can come in, you can take the same courses that Teresa took to grow her $250,000 a year business. You can hang out with the same people that are encouraging Teresa, cheering Teresa on, and helped her reach those goals. And you can hang out with me and Jocelyn every single month on our live Q&A calls. You can ask us direct questions in our forums or on the calls, and we will help you take your next steps so that you can change your family's future. Maybe you will be the mama or the papa that the grandkids are talking about, that are inspired by, because you started and built your own online business. We actually have a 30-day free trial that you can get in right now. Join the Flip Your Life community. Start all of our courses. Start hanging out with us. You get a couple calls with us on our Q&A call so that we can answer your questions, all for free for 30 days. And you can find that at flippedlifestyle.com/free. There is no reason for you to not start your journey today. And who knows, you may be a success story right here on the Flip Lifestyle podcast in the future.
All right. Each week, we like to close our show with a Bible verse. And to honor Teresa and her awesome success story this week, we actually found one about sheep. And it comes from Luke 12:32. It says, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom."
And that's what we want for you in the new year, in the new decade. We want everything to be given to you. We want you to go out and seize all of the opportunities that you have in front of you and use your God-given talents and experiences to start, build, and grow an online business of your own. We'll be back here every week to help you do just that. But until next time, get out there, take action, guys. Do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye.